Well, hi everyone, and welcome to the Infinity Futures Daily Trading video. My name is Raleigh White, and I'm here to talk to you about the trades we took in our live trading room on Wednesday, November 5th, 2014. Well, looking at today's economic calendar, you can see there were a number of key things on tap that we needed to be aware of. Things got kicked off at 7:15 with the release of the ADP non-farm employment change. This is essentially the private sector job creation, and we can see that it came in higher than expected, with 230,000 new jobs being added as opposed to an estimate of 214,000 new jobs. Then at 8:45 we had the final services PMI data come out, which was lower at 57.1 versus an estimate of 57.3. At 9 o'clock we had then the official ISM non-manufacturing PMI data coming out, which was also lower at 57.1 versus an estimate of 58.2. And then at 9:30 we had the release of crude oil inventories, which were lower than expected, with an increase of only 500,000 barrels versus an estimated increase of 1.8 million barrels to wholesale inventories in the United States. Now, as far as our pre-market sentiment was concerned, things were fairly positive coming into the open. Now, the Asian markets had closed mostly lower on falling crude oil. The sentiment in Asia was souring as oil prices were moving lower, and after disappointing China services PMI, which came out at their lowest level in 3 months. We did see that the worst performing markets were the Chinese markets, where the Hong Kong market was down 0.6 of a point. Shanghai was down 0.4 of a point, both coming off of 20-month highs on a round of profit-taking and concerns over the lackluster services PMI data. As far as on the flip side, though, the best performing market in Asia was the Japanese Nikkei. It closed up 0.4 of a point at 7-year highs in choppy trading on the weak yen and on gains in the retail sector. Now, as far as the European markets were concerned, they were open and trending higher following the U.S. midterm elections. Now, sentiment was improving in Europe on news that the Republican Party had won the U.S. Senate. But these gains were being slightly offset by a report showing that the Eurozone business growth activity for October had slowed more than expected. We also see that shares of BP, Shell, and Total remain under pressure as oil prices continue to fall. As far as the United States is concerned, Wall Street did figure to open up higher after the GOP wins the Senate. Now, the futures were pointing up coming into the open after the Republican Party won the Senate and after the upbeat ADP private sector jobs report. Analysts are keeping a close eye on Exxon, Mobil, Chevron, and oil stocks and other oil stocks in the United States, as they expect these shares to trend lower as the energy sector is depressing at this point in time. Focus for many U.S. investors would be on the ISM non-manufacturing PMI data, which is scheduled for release at 9 o'clock, and on the crude oil inventory report scheduled for 9:30. Now, as far as our trading activity is concerned, I attempted 4 entries in the market, and I was filled on one of these in the E-mini S&P 500 market. But before we look at this trade in any detail, I do need to remind us all of this following important disclaimer, and that is that trading futures involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. You should carefully consider whether trading is suitable for you in light of your circumstances, knowledge, and financial resources, as you may lose all or more of your initial investment. And always remember that past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. Well, turning to the charts, let's begin here with the E-mini S&P 500 market, and we can see that we had 4 attempts in the markets here. Everything got underway here at the beginning of the trading session. You can see that we had 2 bars moving higher, followed by 2 bars retracing, and this gave me a long entry opportunity here at 2016. So I was risking 4 ticks to make 8 ticks on this trade, and I got my fill fairly quickly. The market took maybe a tick move in my direction and then fell quickly against me and knocked me out for a 4-tick loss, which put me down $50 per contract traded. Then we needed to wait until the release of the services PMI data at 9 o'clock and then look for some additional opportunities. We can see that we had 4 bars moving lower, followed by 2 bars retracing, and I was sitting here with a short entry at 2015 and a quarter, looking to catch to go short right off the upper Bollinger Band. You can see the market came up here and kissed my entry point, but did not fill me, and then moved through what would have been my profit target, and I had to take this trade off. Now, with 2 bars moving higher, 1 bar retracing, I was looking for this second bar to retrace and to give me a long entry here at 2011.25, but you can see the market never even came close to my entry point, and I had to take this trade out of the market. Now, sticking with the E-mini S&P, you can see we had 1, 2, 3, 4 bars moving lower, followed by 1 bar retracing, and I was hoping this second bar was going to retrace and give me a 2-bar pullback entry just below the previous day's high, but the market never really gave me that retracement on the second bar, so I had to take that trade out of the market. So as far as the trading session was concerned, these were the 4 attempts we had in the market. I had 1 fill. It was a losing trade, and I was down $50. And my plan was to take some time off for lunch and come back about 12:30 or so to see if there were some fresh opportunities in the market. And I did see a couple of those. I want to begin by taking a look at the E-mini Dow market. Now, looking at the E-mini Dow market, you can see we had 1, 2, 3, 4 bars moving higher, and this market was definitely trending higher. You can probably can't see, it's hidden a little bit here, but we had the green balls underneath the bars here telling me that the RSI was above 70. So rather than try to jump in on this as a trending trade, I decided to see if I could catch the retracement as this bar, pulled back and gave me a long entry here at 17,403. So at this point in time, I was risking 8 ticks to make 8 ticks on this trade. I really liked the fact that the resistance to pivot point was protection between my entry and my stop loss. And what happened on this trade is I got filled. The market moved fairly quickly in my direction. When it moved 5 ticks in my direction, my stop loss moved to break even, and I trailed the market by 5 ticks. Well, this market went up 7 ticks in my direction. It went all the way, I apologize, it went 8 ticks all the way to my profit target, did not fill me. My trailing stop was sitting here at 17,406, and then the market fell back against me, knocked me out for a 3-tick win as it started to sell off and move lower through the resistance to pivot point. So the net effect here is rather than getting filled here and having an 8-tick win, I only picked up 3 tricks on this trade, 3 ticks, which is worth $15. The next market that I took a look at was the crude oil market, and I want to take a look at my point and figure charts because here's where I saw the setup. This area that's in gray begins here at 1230. And we can see that we had a column of O's going down here as prices were falling, and then the market turned around at this point in time. So this established for me a minor area of support. And you can see that we had this big column of X's going up as prices increased, and then we saw this turnaround here, and for me this was an area of minor resistance. So as prices started to work their way back down, I expected this market to bounce off this area of support. So I had an entry sitting here at 78.62. I was just looking for 5 ticks on this, a quick little scalp trade, risking 10 ticks to make 5 ticks. I got my fill. The market moved 5 ticks in my direction. My stop loss moved quickly to break even, and I got out with 5 ticks here, which gave me $50. That combined with the $15 that I made in the YM trade actually brought me back just a little bit above break even. And so just to recap here, I ended up with 6 attempts in the market. I had 3 fills, 1 losing trade in the E-mini S&P, a small winner in YM, and a winner in the crude oil market, and I closed the day up $15 per contract traded, and looking forward to seeing what kind of opportunities might present themselves tomorrow. Well, looking at tomorrow's economic calendar, you can see that we have another fairly busy day. We begin here with the all-day Eurogroup meetings out of Brussels. Then at 7:30, we have the European Central Bank press conference. We have unemployment claims data, preliminary non-farm productivity report, and preliminary unit labor costs. Then at 9:30, we have the release of natural gas storage data, and at 12:30, we have FOMC member Powell speaking. So most of the reports are going to be occurring here prior to the open of the U.S. trading session, and I hope that this will give us some volatility and some momentum that will carry over into the open. And with that, I want to thank you all for watching today's daily video. I wish you a pleasant evening. I look forward to speaking to you tomorrow. Take care and good night.